Last time on Perfect World post-production, we built our first structure on top of the rig to house our power control room. But this building is looking very lonely up there all on its own, so today we are going to add a brand new building, probably over this side, but I haven't actually made a full decision yet. And that building is going to house the very first one of our farms over here. But first, I want to have a little play around with Hypertubes, as that will open up a new form of travel and should be perfect for getting around this rig. But to make that happen, I'm going to need to make a whole bunch of components, and then we'll get to experimenting. And in fact, the very first thing we're going to do, if I put my lovely fancy new wings on, what I want to do is see if we can make this thing last a little bit longer. I mean, I've only flown it a few times, it's almost broken already, so I'm hoping we can maybe put mending and unbreaking on it, and then it's going to be a little bit more reliable for us. And I have no idea if this thing can actually be enchanted or not, so first things first, let's chuck it in there. In fact, we're going to need a bit of lapis. And it doesn't look like we can enchant it in the table, but can we put books directly on it? So, do I have any mending or unbreaking books? Well, I've got loads of unbreaking, and I've got some mending as well. Okay, cool. Now, fingers crossed this is going to work. Let's merge the books, and then, yes, it does work. Amazing. So that means I can just go over here and spin the little lever and heal it up. There we go, perfect. Right, so Hypertubes. What do we know about Hypertubes? We know that they are tubes and they move you around. That's pretty much it. And I've still got a few bits left over. I've got an entrance block and accelerator blocks just from where we've been building our hover things, but we're going to need a bunch of these as well, which means we need brass sheets. Let's go get a bunch more of them. And we've got plenty of glass, so we can make more glass panes. Let's just quickly flatten some brass. Ooh, look at all those iron sheets we've got in there. I'm sure they'll come in handy in future. So now we should be able to make a bunch of this. Oh, no, we need glass panes, not glass. So let me quickly do that. There we go. That's given us a bunch of Hypertube blocks. And I don't know what else we're going to need. So let's just shut down an entrance. And obviously it's going to need power. Yep, that's a good thing. So we'll make sure we get lots of power stuff. Okay, that's cool. So we can get some bends and curves on them as well. But that is a basic Hypertube, and the idea is you'll jump in on one side, and then if we were to put an exit on this side, for example, then you'll just fly between the two tunnels. Fairly straightforward. Let's grab a bunch of create powery type things, and we'll see what we can do. And I think pretty much all we're going to need is cogs, shafts, gearboxes, and some in-case chain drives. I don't think we're going to need anything else. I'm going to grab a few more shafts and some girders just in case. We're going to want things to look good, right? And girders always help with that. Right, so over here at the oil rig, let's have a little play around. I'm going to start by putting an entrance block right there. And we're going to need power, which I should be able to grab from down here. Yep, not too far away. So let's just route this over to here. We'll stick in a gearbox, a couple of shafts, and then we'll stick on another gearbox and a cog. So gearbox that way, cog that way. Sneak to enter. Okay, that's cool. I really like the animation effects on that, but the tube is currently too short to travel. So I wonder if we put an exit, say, here, put that down, can we connect these two together? Angle between the 2 points is too high. Right, okay, so what is the tightest that we can actually bend these things? Let's just get a few blocks in and see what we can do. So, ooh. Oh, that is pretty tight, actually. Literally go to there. Does that mean that this one can now connect to this one? Apparently not. Maybe if I did this, then connected them. There we go. Okay, cool. So that's basically the tightest corner we can get, which is, what, sort of 2 blocks by 2 blocks? I'd say that's pretty good, actually. Yeah, look at that. And now, if we crouch here... Oh, look at that. That's so quick as well. Oh, that one doesn't have any power, so we can't go in that one. We can only go in this one. Let's go into third person. I mean, it's very cool, but it's very short. So should we make ourselves a really long tube just to see what we can actually do? And look, so we can go down over there, and then we can just come up over here. So we now have a giant path. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. And it just launches you out the edge. Getting some very strong satisfactory vibes here, and I'm loving it. So we know how they work, but we also have this. Hypertube accelerator block. So I wonder, let me go all the way back to the start here. What would happen if we put a bunch of these accelerator blocks in? Oh, I've only got 2. 2 will have to do. I attach these. I can. Then I'll just get some power to these. Are we going to go faster now? I mean, that certainly felt faster. It made a cool sound. Let's just dump a tube over here. And we'll see how fast that actually is. That did definitely seem faster. Okay, cool. So we've got accelerator tubes, we've got entrance blocks, and we've got the normal tunnels. I think that's everything from this mod. Oh, maybe not. We've got the redstone detector tube attachment and a tube scanner attachment. What do these do? In fact, thinking about it, we did use some of these when we were making our hyper sort of floaty hover van type things because they made the side of these look cool, but I don't actually know what they do. And we don't have any more on us right now, so I guess that's a mystery that's going to have to wait. So let me just quickly remove all of that, have a quick nap, and now we need to work out what we want to do with these hypertubes. So I think it would make sense because this is our storage room. This is where our storage stuff is going to be. Maybe we should have like a hypertube hub around here that sort of links to the different areas of the platform. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. And in fact, the first step in that should probably be actually connecting up the train platform down here. We seem to have a perfect space right here, actually. This could work well. So if we were to build a hypertube entrance thing here, that will take you up to the hypertube room, and then from there, you'll be able to go anywhere on the oil rig fairly quickly. I think that's the way we're going to do it, because the way that these connect, we don't actually... Oh, look, destination, cliffside, for both trains. Is it suddenly working now? Or did I just switch it so it's broken at the other end? I can't remember. It's been a couple of weeks since I was on this world. I've been away. But anyway, yes, hypertubes. I believe you can only have one tube going to one place. There doesn't seem to be a way to put on multiple connections. I mean, there's no junction paths, so I guess that's just not going to work. So yeah, one tube going up to a tube room and then going elsewhere. That's the way we're going to do it. So I'm going to get myself some blocks if we're going to expand this area out a little bit. I just need a bit of tuff and some diorite, most likely. Then from here, we'll just have a tube that goes up to the ceiling, runs across, and then probably just punches its way through here. Now let's go grab some bits and get building. Now the first thing I think we need to do over here is just remove these bits here, remove this, get rid of this bit, and then just make ourselves a little sort of extended bit out here. Then if we were to put the hypertube entrance there, for example, oh, bit low, let's maybe go there, then hopefully we'll be able to just stand here, shift, and then that will take us up to the room. I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't work, but let's get this thing some power. If we were to do that, then what we're probably going to want is a speed controller, because this here is going incredibly slow. And I didn't bring one of them with me, so I guess we're going to go back already. Only been there 30 seconds. And we've got a couple in here. That'll do. We're going to need a large cog as well. That should do the trick. And I have found that taking off with this ornithopter is actually quite difficult, but if I use my jetpack to get up into the sky and then just switch, everything works a treat. That way I don't have to build launch pylons everywhere for this thing. So speed controller, our best bet is probably going to be to jam that in there, put the speed controller underneath, set that to max speed, and we just need a gearbox in there. There we go, that is all powered. I mean, we're going to need to do some work to make it look good around here, but at least it's working. So next up is going to be the connection to the top here. So we know that these things have got a turning radius of like 2 blocks, so I'm hoping that's going to go for vertical as well as horizontal. Grab a bunch of tubes. We'll connect there up to there. No. Let's try that again. There we go. Now I should be able to connect this one to the ceiling here. Yeah, that's going to look nice and tidy, I think. Let me just remove that block. This is going to come all the way over this way. And we need to work out exactly where we want to punch through the floor. So if we had it there, for example, we would need to punch through here. And that runs up the side of my nether portal. Maybe go a couple more blocks this way just to give us a bit more space. That's going to go through a pillar. So let's maybe go here. And where's that going to come out? Up top. Okay, we definitely need to go a lot further that way. Maybe if we were to have it come out here. Can we just stick one in the floor? I mean, I don't see why not. Connect those two together. Then connect a cornery bit to there. Fill in these holes. Then we should just be able to get that connected. And hopefully it will work first time. That'll be nice, won't it? Okay. So I don't see why that wouldn't work. Let's find out. Yep, there we go. Fly in. And we are up. I mean, it's a bit painful and a bit dangerous, so maybe what we should do is just stick a little block above just so we don't go flying out too far. And this one here doesn't have power currently, so we're going to need to sort that out. So let's get this wired all the way across. Then we just need a cog there and a gearbox. That's that side powered. If we stick a casing on that cog, if we now stand on here and crouch, yeah, look at that. Easy access to the station. and back again. These things are awesome. But now comes the tricky part, because I want to be able to connect this to different parts of the platform. And I'm wondering if we just do sort of like a tube going in each direction on the sort of cardinal directions we've got here. The same places where we've already got the storage, because these are pretty much going to be like utility corridors anyway. But it means we can have a tube that goes off in that direction and goes to the right. We can have one that maybe sits on top of it and goes off to the left, and then same on. I don't really know. We're going to work it out as we go along. But I know I want to hook up the power station to this area over here. So I think that's the Hypertube we're going to work on next. And then we'll worry about making things tidy. So we'll start with a Hypertube entrance there. So it's on this line here. Ow! Hey! Get out of it! We don't need health and safety. Zooming people around in tubes is perfectly safe. So let's start with getting a nice curve onto that bit there. And this height should be enough just to keep everything out of the way. So let's just stretch it across. Stretch that to here. And then we'll put in a corner. And look at that. We can actually make the corners incredibly tight. More than I realized. So the question is, where is this going to line up in our building? It's going to end up coming through there, and it's going to be right against the window, which I don't think I like. So maybe we can move it over by a block. Let's see. We should probably actually build the bit in here. And I have already routed up the power. We've just stolen that from the generator down here. So if we put some temporary blocks in, put the entrance there, that should work nicely. And can I use these nicer looking cogs? I can. Wonderful. So with that in place, I can now connect that to there and connect that into the hole there. Yep, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to need to move this one because it's too far over. It needs to be here. Let's redo this bit. Make that corner go that way. Then connect those. Okay, so that should work and send me all the way back to storage at the start. Yep, look at it go. Wonderful. But I need to power this side as well, and I think the easiest thing for me to do is just going to be to connect it here. There we go, and that will send me back. Beautiful. What I need to do now, though, is work out the support pillars. How are we going to do those? I mean, I think we all know I'm going to use girders in some shape or form. I've got an idea of how this could work. So let's start with a girder, wrap that round, but we're actually going to use these lovely angled pieces on the edges here. And there we go. That's not a bad start. Looks a bit boring, though, doesn't it? Let's go grab a few more blocks and see if we can add a bit of color to these things. But shape-wise, I like that. We'll just have those spaced every sort of 20 blocks or so. That should look quite nice. Let's go catch a train and get some better blocks. I love these tubes. And the train should be here soon. But still not soon enough. Let's just fly. So I'm thinking maybe some sea lanterns and some copper trapdoors, but I think I want these to be weathered copper trapdoors. So what we're going to do is chuck these in our oxidization machine, which I think is on the ground floor. Yep, here it is. We're going to put it in this one here, so they should get oxidized to 2 levels. Waxed weathered copper trapdoor. Fantastic. Is that the one we want? I think so. It looks weird in 3D though, doesn't it? Let's get a bunch of these, and then we'll add a whole load of pillars. So what I'm thinking is if we get rid of that, put in a sea lantern, because that will give us some light on the platform. Cover up these edges with some trapdoors, maybe stick a little shaft in the bottom just to chunkify that a little bit. Oh, hello, trader. Yeah, I think that works nicely. Let's just get a few more of these in. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Although, obviously, as we build buildings, we're going to have to sort of probably change where some of these go. Some of these bits might end up going through buildings and things like that. And we can adjust the brackets as we need to when that happens. But that's looking pretty good. Now, this bit here needs a bit of support as well. So I think what I'm actually going to do is hang it from this girder, maybe. We are going to lose a light here. Something like that gives it some support. That'll do nicely. And we'll just move the light over a little bit. All right, cool. That is working a treat. Now, we should probably put a few of these on the bottom of the platform as well that hold the one that comes from the station, just so we can make sure this one's got a bit of support as well. Now, we need to tidy up the station area here a little bit as well. Maybe we could do something like that at the back here, though the top one looks a bit weird. What are we going to do about this? We could just encase those bits, I guess. I'm not sold, though. Can we maybe connect this up here? Maybe block in the back of that bit. And how about we extend this and bring the power out just a little bit further at the back here? So if we were to do that, maybe the girder across the back. Okay, that's looking a little bit more solid. Then we could chuck a bracket on the back there and there, just to make sure that's a bit better supported. And maybe a sign of some kind. I've brought a couple of variants here. Let's see which ones are going to work. I think our best bet might actually be just to stick something on the front here with a little location on it for the Hypertube hub. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. This bit up here, however, is still a bit of a mess, and I don't know what I want to do with this area yet, so it's going to remain a mess for a little while. But at least it's a fun mess. Whee! So with that bit done, at least for now, what I'm going to do is start planning a building. So this platform here is going to be making lots and lots of blocks and things. But let's have a quick nap before we get into this. So yes, this platform, we're going to be making lots of stuff over here, and pretty much everything in Create needs one specific thing to start, and that is cobble. The problem is, I don't know how much cobble I'm going to need over here, so I need to design a cobble farm in such a way that I can expand it as required. So what I'm thinking is a large ground floor area with lots of cobble generators on, and then a second floor where we can have more cobble generators, but just design it in a way that if I need more and more and more, I can just keep making the building taller and taller and taller. I mean, I do want to have a nice big tall building or two on here. And cobble seems like the most likely candidate to achieve that, because, as I say, don't know how much we're going to need. And we're also going to make our cobble farms a little bit different to what we've done so far. We've been using lots and lots of vaults to do them, but I've got an idea which I think might work to switch this up a little bit. But first I need a building to put all this stuff in. And on looking at our platform so far, I was going to put the cobble generator building over here on the other side of the power plant type thing, but I think I actually want to put it on this side here, and maybe we can try and integrate these hypertubes into it. I mean, we're probably going to need to move them a little bit, let's be honest. But I'm thinking if we have a nice big building here, probably a little gap in between so you can actually get round this one, create some more exciting walkways, but a great big building that goes all the way to the bottom and is probably going to end up being 3, 4, maybe even 5 stories tall by the time we're done. For now, though, we'll just focus on maybe a story here and then a couple of stories, just so it's definitely taller than this one. But for that, I'm going to need a whole lot of blocks. We've got a very red building here. We've got lots of dark colors, so I'm thinking something light. We could use some diorite, some limestone, calcite, maybe a bit of concrete, who knows? But I'm thinking a white building up there would look quite nice. So, as always, let's don our wings and go get some stuff and things. So I've got 1,500 diorite bricks. That should help me to lay out the building and get a basic structure in. And glass-wise, I think I'm just going to do something random. By which I mean we're going to make a bucket of yellow dye. We're going to dye loads of glass yellow and just pick a random design for it. Because thanks to the chipped mod, we do have a whole load of different sort of glass types we can use within each color. And I just think the yellow is going to sit quite nicely with the diorites. We still don't have a blast dyeing thing yet, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and do what we normally do, which is rotate that round. We'll put our yellow dye in there and just chuck loads of glass down. There we go. Now all our glass is yellow, so we can put this back to what it was doing before. Oh, dropped a block. There we go. That's going to carry on making iron. We've got lots of yellow glass. We've got some diorites. Let's go lay out a building. Although, there's probably a few other bits we're going to need, such as something for the floor, and I think I might want to use jungle. So there's quite a nice jungle floor texture. First up, though, glass. What do we want? Tiled? Vertical? I think maybe the vertical ones. We'll see how we get on with those. We can always change it later if needs be. But we're also going to need blocks of industrial plating. Probably going to want some metal doors. Let's get a bunch of those. Get some windowed ones as well, just in case. And let's just grab a few pressure plates. And with the jungle wood, what I actually want to do is turn all of this into brick bonded planks, because it's just a very cool texture. Where is it? There we go. Brick bonded jungle planks. Just because I think that'll make a nice floor. And if we're going to have a floor, we're also going to need stairs. So, do we go with the catwalk stairs again? I mean, I do like these. They are very cool. Just grab a bunch. So, I think we've now got everything we need. I should probably have a nap because it's dark and wet and horrible. But now let's head back to the rig and start planning a building. And as the train's here, let's take a little train ride. We just caught that in time. I think what we'll do is just start like we did on the one over here. Just start placing some blocks and see what happens. And I think I want to have this one stick out maybe a little bit further. Maybe it should sort of fill up the whole area. We could even have it so it drops down a little bit lower as well. That could be cool. Would help if I had my jetpack, not my wings on. But we could potentially bring this building down a couple of blocks just to sort of mix up the side and make it look cool. But I don't know. Let's start up here and see what happens. We do need to factor in this tube as well. So maybe we could do something like this. Then bring the front of the building out here, and maybe something that sort of size, and then we're going to have the tube going right through the middle of the building, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That could look quite cool. So at the bottom here, maybe what we could do is bring it down to here, this sort of level. So maybe something like that, and then we'll split up this bit so that it's got a bunch of windows in. We'll probably put a floor divider in. That would look quite cool. Then this, of course, would carry on around here, leaving space for the Hypertube to go in. Then over here, I guess we're going to need to remove this pillar, but I want to have like a different shaped bit of the building on this side. Yeah, this could look quite good. Just needs to be taller. Much, much taller. And I need to put the windows in, solidify the walls, and put in some floor divider bits. But, you know, you get the idea. I think this is going to work. How far back do we want it to go, though? Maybe this sort of size? That should give us plenty of space to build some cobble generators. So let's just get this all blocked out, and then we can figure out how to make it look good. But size and shape-wise, this should work nicely. So I've blocked out the ground floor. Let's just figure out some windows, see how they look, because, yeah, yellow, quite a strong color. But I think it's going to look good with the white. Let's have a look from the other side. Okay, that could look quite good. It looks different enough from these windows as well. I think once we get the second layer in and all the little floor divider bits in, that could work nicely. So let's get to work and find out. Well, progress is being made. It's definitely looking better if we imagine this being a few more stories tall. But if we go on the inside, I've also sorted out the space in here where we're going to build the cobble generators. And you may notice we don't have a lot of roof space, but hopefully if what I'm planning works, we won't actually need it. But I don't think I really have any of the stuff I need. I mean, actually, I've got a bit of power stuff with me, haven't I? But I'm going to need a bunch of other stuff to actually get this to work. So the first thing I need to do is to get power up into the new building. And we're going to do that from this bit over here. In fact, we can just take it off there. Our new building starts here, and you may notice I've not actually done anything with the bottom area down here. In fact, let's quickly go outside and I'll show you what I've done, because I did want the building to look like it was lower and overhanging. So we've got this kind of brackets here that hangs it on a lower level than the red brick building. But if you actually come up here, it's just a walk-through corridor with a lovely window, and this means you can just carry on around the outside of the rig. And mostly that's just because I didn't want to be taking loads of chunks out of this downstairs area. We're going to need this for other things later on. But what we do know is that this block here should be, almost. There we go. This block here is inside the building. We almost got the corner. We were a little bit out. But that's where I need to connect the power to. Something we will need to do is to stick in a clutch, but we can just put that in the roof here, and then that will enable us just to turn off the cobble farm when we need to. So getting power in here has been nice and easy, but I need to go get all the drills and other things we're going to need to make this cobble generator. And it's going to be massive. We should get lots and lots of cobble from this. So we're going to need a bunch of drills. We've got 97 there. Wow, yeah, that should help. Going to need a bunch of cobble just so we can prime the system. We're going to need a whole lot more lava than that. So let's grab a whole bunch of buckets. We're going to need lots of chutes. We're probably going to want belts. In fact, we're going to want more belts than that. We're going to need drawer controllers and some drawers. And we're going to need storage upgrades. 3 diamond ones. I mean, could do with more than that, to be honest. Can we make some more? 28. Wow. Yeah, okay. We'll do that. Not that we're going to need more than 5 or 6 right now, but we might as well get them made, so at least we've got them for the rest of our factory. Let's just grab a few more girder bits. You can never have too many girders. We'll grab some copycat boards, because we're going to need to make sure the water doesn't escape the waterlogged drills that we're going to do. And we'll take a bunch of industrial plating as well. That should be just about everything, I think. Actually, we're going to grab a little bit of cut tough as well. And we're going to take the framing table for the storage drawers, because I have a feeling we're probably going to need them. Oh, and I'm also going to need a clutch and some redstone links. I almost forgot those. You have a clutch. Got loads of redstone links. Thinking about it, I'm probably also going to need some funnels. So let's grab some of these and a few more in case change arrives. Got some andesite funnels. We can probably get away with using those instead of the brass ones, but it's best to take everything, I guess. Right, now we should be ready to go make a cobble farm. Now, what we're going to do is start with a row of these. I want to leave a gap at the side. We're going to stick drills on the front of all of those. So this is where we're going to be generating the cobble. Let's get all of this in. It means we need funnels beneath. And I was thinking I was actually going to put some belts underneath to catch all of this, but there's no way belts are going to be able to keep up. So instead of feeding the belts into the controllers, why don't I just put a whole bunch of controllers down? Because then they'll all just feed directly into the system. And then we need a space for the lava to go here. And then it would be more cobble, more chutes, more drawer controllers. then more drills, and more power. Now, thinking about it, I should probably remove this row here, because I'm going to need to make sure I'm feeding power to all the drills. But then what we could do is actually just reflect this and do it again on the back of here. Yeah, this is going to be a giant cobble generator. There's 16 in each row, so that means we're going to have at least 64 in here, which is a lot more than we had on the farm over there. And we haven't had to use any volts, which are actually a little bit laggy compared to other things, so this should be quite good, hopefully. And it'll be nice and easy for us to expand as well. So I've actually managed to fit 80 in here in the end, which I think is pretty good. To get this hooked up to the power, I've just got to bring it over to here, although I'm not going to do that just yet because we haven't loaded this up with the lava and water yet. And this whole farm only works if it's all set up with the lava, the water, and a piece of cobble in between, which is very, very important, before you turn it on. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Now, something else we still need to do is actually link it up to the storage system. We're going to go underneath here to do that. Run this all the way across until we get to this spot here, because this line of things here, if you look at the top there, that is a framed storage trim. So now that is all linked up to the storage controller over there. Hopefully that means if we were to do a little test here, put some spruce drawers on the end. Oh, wait a minute. I just put a whole line of drawers down there instead of trim. Silly Beardy. So let's remove all of these drawers I just placed, and we'll replace it with some oak trim this time. Then what we're going to do is use the framing table. We're going to make ourselves some framed trim that looks like this, and then we're going to connect up all of these units here. Now the question is, if we drop something in here, it is going to go into here, which means that the draw controller all the way in the middle of the rig is working fine. Excellent stuff. Now we just need to give this thing some support so it's not floating in the middle of the room here. We also need to make sure the water's not going to leak out the bottom of the drill, so let's just use a bunch of boards in here. All right, I think apart from getting in the water and the lava, we're pretty much good to go. So I'm just going to stick a drawer in here and give it loads of upgrades. And then we need to go get lots and lots of lava. It looks like there's a lava pool on my map just over there. Let's go for that. There it is. Oh, it's a good sized one, but potentially only 1 block deep. So we've got this thing loaded up with lava and water. I think we're ready to connect it up and turn it on and hope it doesn't explode. My PC, that is. I think we're almost there. I just need to go and put in a clutch downstairs. We're going to put that in right here. We'll give it cobble cobble. Set it to receive. Then in here, we'll just set the second one along. Set that to cobble. And now we can control it remotely from there. But let's see how fast this thing is. Just need a vertical gearbox. Jam it in there. And there we go. Oh, look at that. Yes, lots of cobble. So that's awesome. We're going to be sensible about this, however, and I'm going to go make myself a threshold switch, just so that when this does actually get full, it will disengage the machine entirely. Let's just make one of those. We put that in there. It's going to read this one. And I'm going to be scrolling for a while. This thing can hold 57,000 stacks. Right, I've scrolled as far as 30,580 stacks. That'll do. Which means I could probably take out a couple of these upgrades. There we go. That'll do. So with that now complete, I think it's time we got to work on the rest of this building. It's missing some floors. And with the cobble coming in that quickly, I don't know if we're going to need more cobble generators up here or not, but I still want this building to be taller either way. But I'm thinking maybe another couple of floors. That should look pretty good. Let's get building. It is done, at least for now. I haven't put a proper roof on it because I don't actually know if this is going to be the top of the building or not yet. And of course, if we float in the windows here, we do have 2 empty floors still. The good news is we've now got 391,000 cobble, but I do realise I actually forgot to add the redstone link, which we're actually going to add around the back here. Let's put that in there. That has stopped it, so I guess I need to invert the signal. That doesn't seem right. Power off when over that amount. So why is the power off now? We're nowhere near over that amount. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm very confused. Does anyone know what's going on there? Am I just misreading that? Am I being silly? Am I too tired? But surely we want the power to be on when there's over 30,580 stacks. And currently, there's not. We can tell that by the field level on here. That would need to be right up the top here for that to happen. But then when I reverse it, that says power off when it gets to that amount. Power goes off instead of on. What is going on? If you have any idea what's happening there, please do let me know in the comments. Very weird. I've just noticed a hole in the floor here. Let's quickly fix that. Oh, and something else I noticed during the time lapse. There's actually a hole in one of the windows up here. It was very annoying to see that when I was editing. But other than that, I think this building is actually done, at least for now. We've got plenty of space to add more cobble if we need it. Like I say, this is going to be a mega factory, so although we're producing 80 cobble every second or so, we're probably going to need more. I don't like how the building looks. I think that works quite nicely. And not only that, we've even got our Hypertubes up and running, at least for now. Oh, look, this guy again. Go away. Oh, you brought some friends as well. Jeez, get out of it. Because that's what you get when you build a giant spawning platform. But what I was going to say was Hypertubes. Look at these things. Absolutely love them. And I look forward to doing more with them and actually building a proper Hypertube hub over here in future. But it's really nice to see this place starting to come together. And if you want to explore it for yourself, I will be releasing a world download this week alongside this video. That will be available to all Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and Twitch subscribers. And the downloads will be available in the Discord. And I've finally got round to actually updating the Perfect World post-production pack. I think I've had Steam and Rails running on here long enough without any issues to say it's fine to update. So if you are playing along, go and grab that update as well. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.